Motion passed. Protection of the Harbour Amendment Bill 2024. This Council now becomes Committee of the whole Council to consider the Protection of the Harbour Amendment Bill 2024. Members may refer to the appendix to the script for the debate and voting arrangements for the bill. Members have been informed that the committee will conduct a joint debate on the clauses and amendments. I now propose the question to you that the following clauses stand part of the bill. Clauses 1 to 11. The Secretary for Development will move amendments which seek to amend clauses 3, 8, and 9. Members may refer to the appendix to the script for details of the amendments. Members may now proceed to a joint debate on the clauses and amendment. I will first call upon the Secretary for Development to speak, but she is not required to move the amendments at this stage. Then I will call upon members to speak. Upon the conclusion of the joint debate, the committee will first vote on the clauses with no amendment standing part of the bill, and then vote on the amendment. Secretary for Development. Chairman, I now move the government amendments to clauses 3, 8, and 9 of the Protection of the Harbour Amendment Bill 2024. The content of the amendments are set out in the paper forwarded by Electrical Secretariat to members. These amendments contain technical revisions and, mostly, changes proposed at the suggestion of the Bills Committee. This points to the healthy interactions and in-depth exchanges between BC members and the government. We worked together to enhance the bill and its mechanisms in order to strike a balance. Now, on the point about publishing the overriding public need assessment report, we agreed to amend the proposed new sections by adding the requirement of putting such a report or a revised version of such a report on the website and including the address of this website in the notice on the report. Moreover, we have also adopted member suggestions by making textual changes to some provisions. For example, we propose to amend the provision on the aim of regulating reclamation in Victoria Harbour as to protect and preserve the harbour as a special public asset and a natural heritage of Hong Kong. This is to convey the message with greater clarity and accuracy. We will also rephrase the provisions on the permitted construction period of harbour non-permanent reclamations to set out the calculation of this period with greater clarity. These amendments are followed by other drafting and technical changes that do not alter the substance of the provisions. The Bills Committee has no objection to all such amendments. I urge members to support and pass the amendments I move. Thank you, Chairman. Dr. Tik Ji-yun. Chairman, at second reading, I expressed my grave reservation about the proposed new Section 3H. I want to elaborate on my point. Hong Kong people cherish Victoria Harbour as a valuable asset. We should have the most rigorous system to protect the harbour. But then the proposed Section 3H undermines the existing protection system. That brings in an unacceptable system. Section 3H has this to say: the Chief Executive in Council will decide whether there is an overriding public need for a reclamation project. This goes against the legal principle of fairness. The government said there will be no large-scale reclamation, but the government will be the project proponent of reclamation, and then the Chief Executive in Council will be the judge of their own cause. This arrangement goes against the principle that no one should be the judge of his own cause, and this does nothing to ensure independence of the mechanism. The government is being judge and jury at the same time, so checks and balances are out of the window. EXCO or Executive Council proceedings are confidential. There's no way for the public to tell what happened at those discussions. The Chief Executive is part of the executive authorities. The public has no part in that. The government said there would be an electrical brief, but that information is provided only afterwards. and that does nothing to make up for the shortfall of public participation in the process. There's no way for the public to monitor how the Executive Council assesses whether a project meets the threshold of an overriding public need. The government said the public can still resort to judicial review, but with the absence of information, how can the public be expected to have enough information to decide whether to pursue judicial review? Judicial review is a costly option, and that's a major hurdle to people. After the amendment, EXCO decisions will have a legal basis, and that would make resorting to judicial review even harder, and that makes it more difficult to have checks and balances. The government promised no large-scale reclamation, but shouldn't we be thinking about what future governments will do? Future governments may have new reclamation projects in mind without an effective monitoring mechanism. The Victoria Harbour will be at stake. Given that, we need more institutional safeguards. I support relaxing restrictions. But with Section 3H, the government will play judge and jury. I have my concern, I have my reservations, I will abstain. Does any other member wish to speak? If not, I now invite the Secretary for Development to speak again. Secretary. Chairman, Dr. Tit Chi-yuen raised a doubt, and I've said this time and again. For reclamation in and outside Victoria Harbour, those decisions have always been decisions up to the executive authorities. Those authorities have to act in accordance with the relevant laws. The Chief Executive in Council acts in accordance with the statutory procedures or mechanism before reaching a decision. And like other decisions made by the Chief Executive in Council, a legical brief is submitted to LegCo. The claim that we are undermining any powers is something we reject. After the bill's passage, when the public is not happy with the executive authority's decision, the public can still pursue judicial review. We're doing nothing to undermine the court's powers. On the contrary, we are actually strengthening the regulation of large-scale reclamation. As we have said, we will be setting out the statutory requirements and procedures for public consultations. With the passage of the bill, the Chief Executive in Council, instead of departments, will be the ultimate decision maker over reclamation. Just like now, when the legality of a decision is questioned in a legal action, the court will be making a ruling. When someone claims a more institutionalized system will make judicial review harder, that's equivalent to saying we shouldn't be amending the law. Just to make judicial review easier, that will be putting the cart before the horse. And that's what we have been saying all along. In any case, I am grateful to the many members who expressed understanding for the government's position. We have made this position clear on many occasions, and we will continue to explain this point to avoid any misunderstanding in the community. Here, once again, I thank the members who have spoken. I thank those members for their support. For those who do not support our position, I hope that my explanation has clarified things. Thank you, Chairman. We will first vote on the clauses with no amendment standing part of the bill. I put the question to you that the clauses with no amendment are set out in the appendix to the script stand part of the bill. Would those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. We now vote on the amendments. Secretary, you may move your amendments. Chairman, I move the amendments set out in the appendix to the script. I propose the question to you that the Secretary's amendments be passed. With those in favor, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the amendments passed. Clauses 3, 8, and 9 as amended. I now put the question to you that the clauses as amended, just read out by the clerk, stand part of the bill. With those in favor, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. All the proceedings on the Protection of the Harbour Amendment Bill 2024 have been concluded in Committee of the Whole Council. Council now resumes. Secretary for Development. President, I now report to the Council that the Protection of the Harbour Amendment Bill 2024 has been passed by Committee of the Whole Council with amendments. I move the motion that this Council adopt the report. I now propose the question to you that the Secretary's motion be passed. With those in favor, please raise their hands. Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. Third reading, Protection of the Harbour Amendment Bill 2024.